Hi Rohin, congratulations.
Thank you so
Very
much,
happy
sir.
to know
Thank
that
you so
you got All India rank 39.
Thank you.
In fact, in UPSC, generally I used to say, give your best and get ready for the worst. Right?
Yeah.
That is the nature of UPSC experience, right?
Right.
So, what was your kind of expectation, right? Okay, you must have definitely given your best. So, did you expect the best or the worst?
Sir, I was hoping for the best only,
Okay.
but somewhere, as you said in the very initial only, I meant one of my mentors, they used to teach me always that you should prepare for the worst, because if in case uh, I had all sorts of experiences during my long journey, so I was somewhere ready that some things things might not work out as well.
Okay.
So I was prepared for both the cases.
Yeah, it's almost a 10 years journey, right, from college days, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, fine, good. So, what was the basic motivation? From where you got that spark to prepare for civil services exam? What motivated you to become a civil servant, actually?
Sir, I would say from the very initial, my family structure, my father is an advocate.
Okay.
So he used to interact with people on regular basis. We used to see them interacting with people
Okay.
and deriving that satisfaction by helping out people.
Okay.
So somewhere that thing was there in mind from the very initial only.
Okay.
And I was looking for something after a point of time that something that could help me derive that level of satisfaction.
Okay.
So after coming to college in Delhi, I got to know about UPSC civil services,
Okay.
and that was where I realized that this is something where I can put my foot forward, and I think that that can help me work towards giving back to the society and deriving that satisfaction as well, and impacting directly into the lives of people.
Fine. So, you started your preparation right from your college days, right? So, during your college days, I mean, you said like from second year onwards, right? So, what was the kind of preparation you did during your college days for UPSC? How did you start the preparation? So, how was your approach?
So basically, sir, we used to look at our seniors who were preparing. So we had these things in mind that we do the basic groundwork that is needed before we start the preparation.
Okay.
So if someone is having that kind of a time during their graduation, then they can start with the basic NCERT books that are there. They can start with reading newspapers on regular basis and sort of do all the experimental works beforehand only, so that we are not lost into while we are attempting the exam. We are not lost into something while experimenting.
Fine. See, you said to start with NCERTs, right? See, when we say NCERTs, it's basically our class 6th to 10th textbook, right?
Right.
So, which we have already studied during our class 6th to 10th. And again studying the same book, maybe after a gap of 7 or 8 years, let us say. What was the difference? What difference you find?
Sir, this
So
time,
these books you studied in the lower classes. Now again you are taking the book and studying again. So what was the difference you found actually?
sir, I would say I enjoyed them in the later part of the journey.
Not
Earlier,
during the
it
school
was
days.
it was part of the curriculum only.
Okay.
So that was more of a task back then. But now we really started enjoying that, because the comprehension part, understanding the books, it was way easier when we were in the school.
Correct.
So we really enjoyed it
So
during
during
college.
school days we studied for marks,
Like,
but here we study for ourselves.
yeah.
That's the difference, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. See, why there is so much emphasis on studying or preparing the basics from NCERTs? Can you just briefly elaborate?
To that, I would say that it forms the basics of our curriculum, of our school system, our education system, and these are the books from where the basic learning about the diversity of our society is captured. We can have a very basic understanding. So, if someone is not attached to have this kind of understanding, then in a very simple, lucid language, we can get an idea. And also, since these are part of the state curriculum books, so they have an sort of bearing upon the mindset of the people who are making the papers as well. So these can be called more of a books from where actually the government and the commissions are also referring to.
Okay, fine. See, when it comes to history books specifically, NCERT history book is good. But generally, I used to suggest Tamil Nadu State Board history books are good for especially the ancient and medieval India part. And even this year, All India Rank 1, Anuj has also emphasized on that, right? So, did you refer Tamil Nadu history textbooks for ancient and medieval India?
Sir, I did look at the books at that time, but I had separate notes because as part of my graduation, I was having history as one of my subjects. So I had my notes from there as well.
Okay.
So I did refer it for the initial part. So these are very well articulated books, I would say.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Good. See, in prelims, there is static part and dynamic part, right? And between these two, how did you bridge the gap, and to which area you give more importance, more emphasis, the static or the dynamic part, and how did you bridge the balance between these two?
Yes, sir. I would agree to that it's a tightrope to walk for students, because there's lots of current affairs material in the market which sort of lures the students. But I was someone, after my initial setbacks, I realized this thing, that the static part is something that we cannot negotiate with. It is very important for us to emphasize on that part. So a large part of my preparation was with the static portions only for the prelims stage. For selected topics, I would read the current affairs. I would take reference to the study material which is curated specifically for the current affairs, and I would refer to the tests which are having questions of current affairs. So I would not go after reading lots and lots of materials in that regard. Besides having the static part, it is important that we have a good understanding of the previous year questions. That is something that helps more, I guess.
PAQs are precious,
Yes,
right?
they are very precious.
Are very, very precious. Correct. See, coming to this current affairs preparation, there are many compilations, PDFs available in the market, free download, and almost all the institute have their own version of PDF compilation. And you have your own style of reading the Hindu or even the Indian Express, right? So, which one do you prefer? So, did you have your own style of understanding and preparation using the reading of newspapers, or you just followed the monthly compilation verbatim? Maybe any institute.
So initially I followed these compilations, but by the end that was something that I was not able to manage and revise for the examinations.
Why?
So because they used to become very bulky by the end of it.
Okay.
And we already have a good portion of the static.
Correct.
So after my initial attempts, I started making notes from the newspapers, and I would not make notes like I'm copying the news articles directly. So I would refer to the syllabus and previous year questions. By that, I had a good understanding as to which news articles and news clips are important. So I had maintained different folders for that, different files for GS1, 2, 3, 4. And I had
a laborious task, right?
Initially it might appear, but after a point of time we can sort of filter it. I mean, I am having like 20 pages by the end of the year with GS1, and I can revise it in like one day or something of that sort. So that is something that I referred to.
Now, between Hindu and Indian Express, nowadays Indian Express is also relatively good in terms of UPSC preparation.
Right.
So which source do you recommend?
Sir, I for a large part of my preparation, I refer to the Hindu only.
The Hindu.
Yeah. But during my interview preparation, I did refer to Indian Express to have that balance of opinion, which is sometimes needed. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Good. In prelims, GS one part and a CSAT another part. Though CSAT is of minimum qualifying cutoff only.
Right.
But still, people find it difficult to crack CSAT. And nowadays there is no difference between max background students and non-max background. For both of these groups, like CSAT has become tough, right? And you are from non-max background. Okay, though you studied the max physics, chemistry in +2, after that you are more of humanities kind of student, right? How did you manage to crack the CSAT cutoff? Was it really a tougher task for you?
Yes, sir. It was very tough initially. It costed me the initial 2 attempts as well, that I qualified the GS cutoff, but I could not qualify the CSAT cutoff. Then I sat down and had a good understanding of what is actually the demand of the CSAT. So it is important for us that whichever portion of the examination we are approaching, we need to have a good understanding as to what it is exactly expecting from us. So CSAT is more, I realize that it is more of a paper which needs a good strategy, which needs a good time management. Uh, by that I mean that for the mathematics portion, that was a big challenge for me. So what I did, that I used to pick questions which would appear easy to me. I had charted out that these are the portions among which I am going to appear questions. I am not going to touch the other questions. And after a point of time, if I am not able to solve the questions, then I will not take it on my ego that I will solve this question now, because that is not a smart strategy in the examination hall.
Correct.
So it is important for you to pick and leave the questions in CSAT. So if you are able to rationalize that particular thing, then you can manage. And I excessively focused on the comprehension part. So I did the last 10 years of comprehension
RC.
passages, RCs of last 10 years 2 to 3 times. I used to do that after my initial 2 setbacks. And by that, of the 26 to 27 questions that are being asked every year, I used to manage 23, 24, 22.
So you manage more with RCs than quants reasoning.
So I used to get a large part of my score from RCs only, like 45 plus also.
It's a minimum
sometimes.
cutoff,
Yeah.
only, right? Okay. One important quality or one important strategy a candidate must follow to crack CSAT means, what is that?
Sir, I would say having a smart strategy of the 2 hours, that at which point of time you would attempt which set of questions. Briefly, I would discuss about mine. That for the initial 1 hour, I would attempt the mathematics portion, within which the reasoning portion as well. So I'll pick around 15 to 20 simple questions in that 1 hour. If I'm able to do that, I'm confident that I'm having 26 to 27 questions of comprehensions remaining. So after 1 hour, I would leave the mathematics portion. Even if the question is in between, I would leave that just after completion of 1 hour. Then I'll move on to the RC section and sort of attempt the questions for 35 to 40 minutes, let's say. After 35 to 40 minutes, there are 26 questions here, 16 questions from the mathematics portion, 42 questions already attempted. I would take 5 minutes and fill the bubbles, and that will leave me like around 15 minutes after that. So I would solve 4 to 5 more questions from the mathematics portion. So it is important for you to have that strategy. Devise identify which are the areas where you are lacking, what is your strength in that exam, that part of the paper, and capitalize upon that.
Fine. See, you cracked 2 prelims,
Right.
2 mains, and now this 4th attempt you got all India rank 39,
Right.
and first 2 prelims you could not crack, right? Fine. Now my question is, as far as GS prelims is concerned, generally there are 2 types of strategies suggested by the faculty mentors. Some faculty suggest you go up to 90 plus questions, right, and you can easily crack the cutoff. Some faculty suggest, even I suggest around 75 plus, be safe.
Right.
So what was your kind of approach, going on a higher side, attempting 90, 95 plus questions, or on a safer side, say 75, 80, somewhere around that, and play safely with a good confidence level? So what was your kind of approach in all these 4 attempts, or where did you change your approach in each of these attempts?
Sir, initially I used to attempt only 80 to 85 questions, but I realized that my score is stucking in a certain range because of that, like 75 to 80 or somewhere around 80 to 83. So I realized this thing, that I have to attempt more questions, because I was not someone who was very good with accuracy. So it is important for the students to attempt a certain number of papers and learn this thing, whether which part of the strategy is working for you. So after a point of time, I started attempting 90 plus questions, then 95 plus as well. So in my last 2 to 3 attempts, I used to attempt 95, 96 questions. I have to make some wild guesses as well. But on those wild guesses, I was someone who was not be someone who would come out as net negative from there. At least 1 mark of positive if I'm making guesses in 5 of the questions. So that strategy would differ from student to student. I attempted more than 95.
See, this one particular thing which I generally advise my students, suggest to my students. See, there are some questions in UPSC prelims. Immediately after seeing the question, you will get the answer. But later you will think, no, UPSC must have framed in a different way. UPSC is a very cunning person. This much easy, it will not work. Let me think again.
Right.
So like that people do. So when you do some kind of overthinking or over smart behaving, that question actually goes wrong. Actually, the first flash which was there on your mind was the correct thing. But many a times I see aspirants, they overthink, they overdo, they over smart behavior, and they lose the question. So what is your point on this flash memory retention? Has this kind of flash memory retention worked for you, or did you do some kind of over smart behaving or overthinking or overdoing?
So I would strongly agree to your remarks on this part, that you don't revisit the questions, please. Go with your gut feeling, go with your intuition. The first thought that comes to your mind after seeing the question, it might be that once you start overthinking, you might get one or two questions correct, but that will be part of your habit. You will analyze 20 more questions in that manner, and you will make most of them to be wrong. So it is important that even after you are thinking that this question might get after I revisit it, please do not revisit it, because it will become part of your habit. So it is important that you stick with your intuition, because that's not something which is coming very random. You have studied for 1 to 2 years, and that information is somewhere processing in your subconscious mind.
Correct.
So that's not a random feeling that you are getting.
It's a cumulative thinking process.
Yeah, it's a cumulative thinking process.
Correct. Fine. So flash memory retention is more important, and we must trust our flash memory.
Yes,
right?
I would say, sir.
You would say that. Fine. Good. See, what was the role of our test series as far as prelims is concerned, be it GS or CSAT, and how our test series were helpful for you to crack prelims?
Sir, it is very important that to find a good material, a good test series, which could really understand the demand of the examination, which could really align with the previous year questions, so that the students have a right set of mindset after practicing those questions successively. So it is very important for students to have that kind of material which could help them understand the demand of the question. So at Raja Sir's IAS Academy, I could find that material. I could find that set of questions which are very close to the demand of the UPSC. So it is important that students practice in that right frame of mind. So practicing such questions at your institution is something that gave an advantage and that gave an edge, I would say.
Okay, fine. See, as far as the test batch is concerned, even I have told you many times, attempting a test alone is sufficient or not, because many students do this mistake. They come and give the test, they forget the test. But I always emphasize, take the question paper, do homeworking. Even if your score is less, you please do homeworking of the question paper, right? So what is the role of homeworking of the test papers? It's not just coming and sitting for the test, attempting whatever high mark or low mark, but the homeworking part of the test papers, how significant it is?
Sir, it is very useful, because we are not proving it to someone that we are getting 50 marks, 60 marks. So it is important that after attempting, I committed these mistakes in my initial 2 attempts, but realized it later that it is very important for you to go back and revisit those questions. By the end, I was of the opinion that even if you are not getting at the end, like if we are only having 30 to 40 days, if you are not getting time to analyze whole of your paper, at least revisit those questions mandatorily which you are getting wrong. It is important for you to identify those gaps, that why you are getting certain questions wrong again and again. So after a point of time, like 4 to 5 tests, you'll find a pattern in your mistakes, that whether it is because of some conceptual clarity that you are getting it wrong, or lack of revision or something. So test series help you analyze these gaps that are there. So it is very important.
Fine. See, between prelims to mains, Nowadays, a very minimal gap, right? There is again a confusion. Will I clear prelims or not? I'll check, aspirants are checking keys from various institutes, various websites, and many cutoff calculators are there in the market. And different calculators give different cutoffs, right? And students get confused. I used to get many queries immediately after me. Sir, I checked this cutoff calculator, I am getting this. I checked this institute key, I checked our institute key, I am getting this. Will I clear? This kind of dilemma and doubt has come. So my point is this a symptom of a sincere and serious IAS aspirant getting into this dilemma?
Sir, ideally it should not be, because with the limited time that we are having, we tend to face like 10 to 15 very crucial days, wherein we can actually gain an advantage into the mains preparation. We can start head start after the prelims examination is over, and by the time results are out, we can at least cover 1 or 1.5 GS papers or some sections of optional. So it is very important that we plan our prelims preparation in such a manner that we don't have to juggle between these test series, and right after it we should start preparing, because it is just a matter of 10 to 12 days within which the results are out. So candidates can start with their mains preparation. At least if you are not able to do something else, consolidate your materials, identify your areas which you are going to work, get started with your test series, do some basic answer writing. By that time you would get the results. So please do not waste those crucial 10 to 15 days.
So did you ever do calculations with the multiple cutoff calculators? So did you ever got some kind of comparison of cutoffs? Will I get? Did you ever get into this dialogue?
Yes, sir. It was very natural for an aspirant to do it for 1 to 2 days.
Do you suggest that?
I would not suggest. And after clearing the examination and not being an aspirant, I would say please don't do that. We used to do that in the initial attempts, but after my third attempt, we realized that it doesn't make any sense. This is a kind of noise that happens every year. So please do not fall into these traps. And if you are not doing, at least keep your mind sane out of these things.
Fine. See, coming to mains. Really, I must congratulate especially for that. Your GS score is 459, right? And in fact, that has helped you to elevate your rank, right?
Right.
So how did you manage to get this much high score? It's one of the super great score, I can say. 459 in GS. How did you manage? How did you approach?
Sir, I did very basic and ordinary things in that regard. It was a long journey for me. I had a bunch of mistakes that I did during my preparation, but I did very ordinary things that might not appear very fancy at the outset, like writing on regular basis. Sit at your home, write 5 questions every day after your prelims is over. Attempt your test series, go to your test centers, simulate those conditions, those 3 hours. Please write a test. Write 1 test in the morning, write 2nd test in the evening.
So
please,
exactly on the realistic
UPSC
pattern.
Yeah, it is very important for candidates to do that right before the examination, so you do not feel the heat in the examination hall.
Correct.
So I would say doing these, practicing these in different scenarios, simulating those conditions have really helped me.
So maybe to put it simply, you should discover your alter ego before the real exam, right? That is important.
Yes.
Okay, fine. See, as I could observe from your score, your GS2 score is something like
124.
Okay, fine. It was good. Okay, fine. So I observe from your score, your GS2 score is 124. In fact, it's one of the good scores, right? So GS2, how did you manage? Because GS2 is a bit dynamic, more dynamic when it comes to IR or even the quality part. It's more dynamic, right? And how did you manage to get this much score? Because GS1 is static, history, geography, it's more of static. GS2, GS3, it's more of dynamism kind of thing, right? It has a lot of dynamism. So how did you manage to get 124 in GS2?
Sir, every paper has its own strengths. GS2 is a paper where you can actually get a score of 125 plus 130 plus also.
Okay.
So having a right strategy is again something that I would recommend to the students. Identify your areas. So what I basically did, that I would focus on the governance part, the social justice part, the IR part, which is equally important to the Indian polity section that is there. So combined, half of the paper is Indian polity and the other half is governance, IR, and the social justice section. So it is very important that if you really want to score well, then you'll have to focus on every part and strike where your strengths lie. So I would do the basic study of the previous year questions, identify the themes which are getting repeated almost every year. There are some sections like representation of people act is something that gets repeated. The comparison between Indian constitution and those of Western countries,
and
that we find. There are sections like the constitutional offices like President, CAG, Attorney General of India. These are the questions which we find on every alternate year. So we can prepare the templates of these questions
so is
before.
Lakshmikant sufficient enough for mains perspective?
Sir, I would say for the mains, it lacks that. There are certain gaps in that. We need
So what
more
else
of an
other source?
analytical kind of a bent of mind in mains preparation.
Okay.
So we can also like refer to your material that is there, which really
Quality
helps
notes,
because connecting that static and dynamic
Current affairs
is something that becomes very crucial in the GS paper too.
Okay, fine. Now coming to GS3 again. See, GS3 I have seen over the years, people are finding it difficult. Even some people got very high scores in other GS papers, but GS3 they get 40, 45, 50, 55. Crossing 60 or 70 in GS3 is not that common. You must be observing. And your score is 94. 94 is pretty decent score in GS3. As far as GS3 is concerned, 94 is pretty decent. And GS3, this economic part, it is partly static, partly dynamic. They say this way, you can say this way. And this disaster management, internal security, relatively kind of dry areas. Even as a faculty, like we also like find it a dry kind of areas, right? And managing all these dry areas and balancing between the dynamism and static things. How did you manage this GS3?
So, sir, I was very clear from the starting of my, like after my first mains, this GS3 is not something where I'll score 100 plus. So, at least one thing that I have to ensure is that I don't get or do any blunder into this paper so that my score fall below 70 or 60. So, I was supposed to ensure that. For that, I focused upon internal security because this is something, again, I used to do a theme-based trend analysis of the PYQs and identify the areas which are getting repeated. So that is something we can prepare. And if as some section of paper we are prepared, then the other section is something that we can deal with our confidence that we have done decently well in. So I would focus on areas of internal security like terrorism, Naxalism that is there, cyber security that is there, or any current significant event that has happened. Like last year, the Union government announced that we are going to end Naxalism by March 2026. So that became a big news. We can expect a question because that is linked to Naxalism, which is again a big problem. Even in economics, we can go into areas which are really having an impact upon our society. So we don't have to chase every news that is there in economic. Some basic developments that are taking, which will have a bearing upon the society, like the global level changes that are happening, like the protectionism that is there, trade war that is there.
For this, I would like to emphasize this thing: that the economic survey of the current year. Right. That plays a vital role. Am I right?
Right, sir. So get handful of like economic survey, some compilation if you, because reading the whole economic survey, if you are not an economics
that's
student,
impossible. But at least the major areas, at least the schemes
you can focus
or the suggestions.
You'd find good schemes there. You'd find good data
at least from
points.
economic survey, you can filter the topics.
Right, sir.
Am I right?
Right. So we can identify those themes. We can sort of identify the source materials that are there. Economic survey provides you good data points as well. So what GS3, I was someone who realized that it is more of a factual paper in large sections. Environment as well, they are asking about Paris Agreement, what were the goals there, what were the goals in 21, 22.
More textual kind of thing.
So you'll have to prepare some fact sheets in that regard. So if you are having that from your classes or something that, then you can refer to those fact sheets, revise them multiple times, and you will be able to use them in your answers.
So coming to your GS4, I remember your score was 126, right? GS4.
Yes.
In fact, again, that's one of the good score. See, GS4 is easy as well as tough. For one and only reason, it is open-ended.
Right, sir.
It is easy because it is open-ended. It is tough because it is open-ended.
Right, sir.
Right? There is no defined boundaries in GS4, right? So how did you close the boundaries? Did you were you able to close the boundaries? Like how did you manage the GS4 part?
Sir, you put it very beautifully that it is easy to read the GS4 chapters that are there. We really enjoy reading about ethics, but when it comes to writing on ethics questions, especially the those of UPSC, it becomes a bit difficult. It becomes difficult to exactly determine what is the demand of the question, because the questions tend to be very long sometimes, and we are lost in that. At what point should I start? So it is important that we have a good understanding of the previous year questions. Please pick the last 5 years. So basically there are two sections. Section 1 with the static questions that are asked, the quotations that are there. Section 2, section B, which is case studies. So for section A, what I did that for last 5 years, whichever questions are being asked, I would go segregate the demand of the question. I would write them. I would discuss it with my teachers as well. I would put them on the AI like ChatGPT or Gemini. Make use of these technologies that are there. I would put it there and get answers from them. Then after attempting 10-20 answers, I would get some idea as to what UPSC is exactly asking, which part of the question they are creating a haze that students are lost in that, and which part of the question you exactly identify the demand of the question. Okay, for the case studies part, I identified again for the last 10 years of case studies, which would be around 60 case studies, and you would identify 10 to 12 major themes. Please prepare templates on them beforehand. Identify the key ethical issues that are there, make a list of them. Identify the key ethical dilemmas that are there, make a list of them beforehand only, because it is important in a paper like ethics that you put good make good use of keywords, so that becomes very attractive in your copy, and examiner they find it really interesting.
Correct. See, in writing answers for GS4, I always emphasize, which like even I have emphasized in test papers evaluation also, give more examples. I mean, link it to the examples, right? Now, coming to this examples part, there are some classic static examples, TN Session, Ashok Kemka. So, almost every aspirant who is giving mains will be using such classic examples, right? I don't say it's wrong,
Right.
but the point is, how are we going to differentiate our answer, our example, and how to link with the current affairs part in generating examples? So how did you manage that?
Sir, as we discussed earlier as well, that while reading the newspapers, I would prepare a different folder for GS4.
Okay.
So while I am reading the newspapers, if I am finding a good case study, like if there is someone who is doing good work in NGOs, I would write that down on a piece of paper. And by the end of 1 year, you'd realize that you are having a handful of 40 to 50 beautiful case studies from different sectors.
Correct.
Do revise them, do use them. On addition to this, we can use the static examples as well, but the significance of using examples is something that we have to understand. We have to use that example in with respect to the demand of the question. We don't write that we are writing a point, then example TN session. Please explain what TN session means in that answer.
Correct.
So that becomes important.
Okay, fine. See, this means 2025. There was one Tirukural. Those who in trouble will trouble the trouble if they don't bother about the trouble, right? Okay, fine. So, while writing answer for this Tirukural, so did you give any example or you just gave the explanation part? So, yeah.
The moment we saw that question of
You got into trouble.
yeah, Yeah, we got into trouble initially, and I'm reminded of the South Indian movie
Balaya.
dialogue. Yeah,
Balaya.
that was there.
Okay.
So that if you trouble the trouble will trouble you. So
Okay.
for a moment, I smiled at the question that yes, but anyhow we have to deal the question.
Okay. Now you stand as a testimony to the court.
Yes.
You smiled at the trouble, right?
Yes.
So you won the trouble.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
So
So,
we'll have to attempt the question anyways.
okay. So any example you gave for this?
Sir, I'm not able to recall exactly, but
Okay.
it is important in the quotation questions that you connect it to the current events.
Correct.
Because these are quotations which are written in the past, sometimes
Okay.
200, 300 years back. So
Okay.
if you are able to connect that to some events, we can connect it to our personal life as well.
Correct.
Like as an aspirant, we can attempt this question at 3 levels, like at individual level, at the societal level, at the national level. That if we are able to deal the troubles at our individual level, then we can come out as victorious. Same goes with the societal level for the social issues. National level, if there are any pressing issues. So this can be the approach, one approach of attempting this question.
So this is more connected to the emotional intelligence,
Right.
syllabus wise, right? Emotional intelligence, right? Anger management.
And ethics is, sir, ethics is a paper which is sort of, which we attempt in by the end of it. And by the time we attempt it, we are almost tired. And that is exactly when you test the ethics of a person. So it is important for you to have a right frame of mind at that time.
Okay, fine. So what is the role of our ethics books and PVQs, solved PVQs ethics, which you refer? So what role did it play in your enhancement of ethics score to 126?
Sir, I would say that as I mentioned earlier as well, that something that connects to the demand of the examination. So at your institute, it was very helpful to have a good understanding of the PYQs. I was someone who focused upon the previous year questions in ethics. So by looking at the solutions of your institute, we can really have a good perspective as to what are the ways by which we can attempt this question. We are having certain thoughts, but looking at the answers, at your answers, it gives an added perspective. So that is something that have helped me to widen the perspective in.
Fine. Coming to your essay part, right? How many essays did you write for practicing before actually giving your first mains? I mean, the third attempt was your first mains, right?
Right.
So how many essays did you write for practicing? Or were you good at essay writing basically, right from the beginning, right from your school days, college days? Were you good at writing essays, articulating things?
Sir, I felt this thing that I am very good at writing these things, but when my scores came, I had this fear that something has not worked for me.
Okay.
And there were some structural mistakes that we were making, especially in the essay paper. Following the traditional pastel approach, which we call it P, the political, economic, and fitting in these things into each one of the topics that we are getting. For the philosophical essays that are there, fitting in these mechanical fixtures is something that doesn't appeal to
even
the
I don't
examiner.
encourage that HPC, they say history, polity, culture, society,
Right, sir.
economy. It doesn't work actually.
It doesn't work because a large number of students are doing that. So for an examiner to see that thing coming again and again, it becomes very irritating because this is one area where students can really experiment with their ideas.
Correct.
So if that experimentation is not coming, then they are not serving to the purpose of the
Essay
whole
paper.
paper.
Yeah, correct.
Right, sir. So this time around, I changed after discussing with you as well in this regard, that there is a need to move away from that mechanical way to a more organic way of writing essays, wherein you are having a good understanding of the topic and write it what comes to your mind, connect it to your surrounding, connect it with your life events, connect it with the events that are happening in the society at the national or the international level. So have a perspective. Please give different set of arguments, and they should not look mechanical. Please do not fit in the examples, because essay, more people consider it that you need to have more and more examples, but examples are to substantiate your arguments. They cannot replace the arguments. So you need to have a good understanding and frame good arguments at like.
Fine. Now, for the future aspirants, suggest 3 main points that must be taken care of while preparing for mains?
Sir, first would be please write answers. We have this feeling that we are not prepared, we have not read enough, and how can we write answers? Please, if you have a decent understanding about the topics, start writing, commit those mistakes, because it is after these that you would learn about answer writing. Second, sir, answer writing is a very gradual process, I would say. This is not something that I'll start today and after 10 days I'm writing good answers. You'll write bad answers in the initial, that is for sure. But gradually you will realize that you have a certain style of writing answers.
Correct.
Please refer to the topper copies that are there. Identify the things which you feel that suits you. Experiment on those. If they are working for you, then you can follow.
You have to discover the style which suits
Yes,
you, right?
because having your own style and having an ownership of that is something
Correct.
that will work under extreme pressure in the mains examination hall.
Exactly.
Please do that right before. Have a schedule of writing differently. We have a good amount of schedule for studying different things, but not of writing. Please write every day, at least in the prelims and mains section that is there, 60 to 70 days. Do not miss out on writing every day at least 20 to 30 pages, I would say. Second, I would say that identify the core themes in each one of the papers that are there, which are getting repeated again and again. So having a good understanding of those things, you can prepare some templates before and only, and you can implement them directly into the examination. That will save your time during the preparation as well as while attempting the papers. So that would be second thing.
So coming to your optional geography, again, your score is 286, which is literally the best score, one of the best score I can say, right? How did you manage to get 286 in geography?
Sir, it is important for a subject like geography that you concise your things in such a manner that doesn't take much of your time. Please do that groundwork before. Identify your areas where you need to work. For me specifically, I was someone who was more interested into human geography, so I would focus more into human geography and try to maximize there. Again, identify those areas and make your copies very presentable, so we can add it to the generic mains thing as well, that make your copies very presentable to the examiners. Make good use of diagrams, because with less you can convey more through the diagrams. So make them presentable. There should be a structure in your answering, and please do give examples. Do examples from your surrounding, examples that can be connected to the demand of the question. And please focus on what is being asked. We sometimes tend to fall in this trap that we know something about a topic and we start writing without looking at the question. So it is important that you read the question at least 2 or 3 times and then understand the demand and write what is being asked. Right? Please do not write what you know.
Okay, fine. See, as far as geography is concerned, I know like you did your graduation as well as post graduation in geography. That must have definitely helped you. What are the basic sources of textbooks for geography which you referred?
So for the optional
option, geography option.
So I refer to Savinder Singh book that is there in geography for paper 1. So we have different
Savinder Singh.
I would say for the human geography section we have Sudipta Adhikari book. But more than that, I would recommend that there are notes on EPG Pathshala. So EPG Pathshala is a initiative by Ministry of Education at the Union. So you would find, please write on the web that EPG Pathshala geography notes. You would find on each one of the topic, and they are prepared by some of the acclaimed people in that discipline. So you would find good material out there. For paper 2, I refer to DR Khullar's book that is there. Khullar's book. And also you need to have an atlas or some book by which you could read the map entries. So that is also one question which is being asked.
So these are the sources which you refer to geography. Okay, fine. One template cliche question, right? Daily, how many hours did you prepare? See, many toppers say I studied for 15 hours, 18 hours, 17 hours. Some toppers even they say 20 some toppers even they say 20 hours per day they put their efforts. So you be honest.
Yes,
How many hours of study you put daily
sir. I would
on
say
an average at least?
for a complete examination cycle during the examination days, those hours used to be more than 10 for sure.
Okay.
But we cannot sustain that thing for a very long time.
Correct.
So even during the examination cycle, like if I'm studying for 10 hours, that would be 5 days a week. I cannot do that for 7 days.
7 days.
So what you can do instead is read 3 days 10 hour plus. On the 4th day, plan a schedule where you can write one test, 1 or 2 tests, and rest for the rest of the day.
Okay.
For the next 3 days, again read 10 plus hours, then write a test. So you'll get a break as well as a new lease of life from those study materials.
Okay, fine. Suggest 3 strategies for a beginner who is entering into UPSC preparation. What he must do and what he must not do. 3 points for each. A beginner, not a senior aspirant.
Sir, for the do's part, I would say please have a good understanding of the examination. Have a clarity about why you really want to do that thing, and what is your purpose behind doing the examination. That would be one thing. Second would be do something that you really want to do in the examination hall. Do not wait that you will do directly. Commit those mistakes. There's nothing wrong in committing the mistakes. If you want to attempt 95 plus questions, please do that in your test series. Don't wait for the examination. If you want to attempt 70, please do that right before only. And third would be please have a plan for a complete examination cycle. I really missed on that part in the initials, that we are studying very haphazardly. Like prelims, for prelims we are studying for 2 months. Then if we are not clearing, we are not reading the complete year. Again at the end we are reading. Okay. So it is important to have a complete plan of all the 3 stages, because they feed into each other. They are designed in such a manner. So please do that. For the don'ts, I would say please do not copy anyone blindly, very blindly. You are a very unique individual in your own self. Please have faith on yourself. You'll do good. Second, do not compare yourself with the other students, because everyone is having their different strengths. So if you start copying, then you might end up in a depressing state. Third would be please do not let this examination become very heavy on you. Do not let it define your entire personality. Don't get over emotional. Consider it just an examination for which you will have a right plan, you will have a right strategy, and you will clear it.
Thank you, Rohin.
Thank you.